into who's buying new homes, why they're buying new homes, how to work with builders if you haven't worked with builders, what are some best practices. We'll go into our tools, show you how people are using that tool, some best practices. So really just trying to give you an overall kind of educational understanding about new home builders. We don't have all the information, but at least it'll kind of get you started. If this is a niche that you want to work in, I think this could be helpful for you. If it's a niche you're already working in, perhaps this could help you as well. And maybe our tool can be helpful, and there could be something that you don't have access to that could be helpful for you. So I think what I'm going to do is just going to get ourselves started. We might have some people trickle in, but that's going to be okay. Any questions right now for me as we get started on the class and what we want to cover? No? Okay. I think everyone's probably been here before. Quick housekeeping, just out the door to your right, to the right are the restrooms. So let's get started. First thing I'd like to talk about, come on in, good morning. We're just getting started. Is just trying to understand why people are buying new homes, what are the reasons that they look for, and who are these people, all right? First off, the number one reason why people are buying new homes is they want to avoid renovations, okay, or plumbing problems. So if you're working with a client that is overly concerned about renovations or what the condition of the homes, new homes might be something that they want to consider, all right? The other thing is the ability to choose custom designs and features, right? You can often choose what floor you want, what countertops you want. That's appealing to a lot of people. 24% of the people that bought new homes, that was the reason they cited, right? And for someone that here that works in building homes, you probably know that that's important. This is one of the things that I bought a new home in a new home community about 12 years ago. This was the number one reason why my wife and I bought. My wife was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and we had a rec center, pool, playground. There was a lot of folks in the community that the moms stayed home, and it really brought a great sense of community for us. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and it was kind of how I grew up, having all the kids outside playing and had a great community. So 17% of the people, that's the reason why they bought. So if you are talking to the customers, and a sense of community is important, having a public pool, community pool, basketball courts, they may want to consider, and you might want to start steering them towards looking at some of the new home communities. The other percent, I was surprised with this data here. I thought green would be much higher, but 10% of the people, why they buy new homes is because they're green. I suspect that number will go up, but again, that number surprises me as a whole. 15% said other reason. We don't have data on that. Who these people are, 18% of the people are the wealthiest people in the marketplace. So wealthy folks are the ones that are purchasing new homes, or about 20%, if you will. Home sellers sold so they could purchase a new home. I like this because if you're working with someone, this means that you've got a double-sided deal, right? They've got a home that they want to sell, they're already a homeowner, and they're interested in moving to a new home. That was my situation. I had an older home in Saratoga. It was too small, it was too old. Sold my home and bought into a new home community. So that's an opportunity for you not only to sell a home, get commissions on it, but then also move someone into a new home community and make commissions there as well. 16% are coming from outside California, international buyers. So if you work, typically what you see in this marketplace is a lot of Asian buyers in this marketplace, foreign dollars coming in. 16% of the people that are buying new homes are international dollars. So there's a few people, I think Fred Lamb, if you know Fred, works really closely with international buyers. And so what he's doing is reaching out to those people on a regular basis and letting them know what kind of communities are available here, kind of investment communities. And if you think about it, if you're an investor, thank you, Carlos, I appreciate that. It looks much better. If you're an investor and you want to bring dollars into California or into the US, buying a home that needs a bunch of renovations could create challenges for you being from far. But if you're buying a new home community, you know everything is brand spanking new. It's a simple process for foreign investors. So if you do work with foreign investors, there could be an opportunity to have that conversation with them. Are you interested in new home communities as well? If so, I can help you kind of find a place for your dollars out here in the real estate business.
One thing I want to jump in One
Please
great
do.
thing about with the foreign buyers, what we've seen is home builders, they have their model homes. And a lot of times towards the end of it's one of the last things they sell, and it's already furnished. And so they'll sell you the home at the market rate without upcharging you for with all the, you know, the upgraded ground, the upgraded cabinets, all that. So they sell that as is from a model home at a slight discount because you're not paying for all of that. That's a perfect buy for a lot of these international investors, because then you keep it furnished, and then boom, it can be a turnkey rental for them as well. And they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to choose options and all that. It's just ready to go.
And thank you, Jonathan. And I didn't introduce Jonathan and myself at the very beginning because we started getting going. But again, I'm Sean Oliver. I am not a realtor. A lot of people ask me if I'm a realtor or a broker. I am not. I've been doing sales and business development for over 20 years now, mostly in the real estate segment. However, Jonathan Wilhelm here is a realtor and a broker, so a lot of those types of questions around the technical side or the business side, Jonathan has on-hand experience with that. All right. This one here, many of you haven't, there was a show of hands earlier of who sold new homes, and most of you hadn't sold new homes. But this number is interesting here because if you started asking your customers if they're interested in new homes, you would find the data would show that 50% of the folks out there are either in the market or indifferent to new homes. So I beg the question that if you're working with your customers and you're only looking at your MLS listings or what's available on the resale market, are you having conversations with your customers about, are you interested in new homes, right? And if you haven't worked with new homes and you don't have information about data, most likely you're not even asking that question. So ask yourself, are you missing an opportunity when you're asking your customer, what is it that they're looking for, right? You're probably asking what area, what price, and then you're immediately going to the MLS and you're looking at what homes are available in the area, going on your broker tours, those type of things. But if you're interested in participating in the new home niche, start to educate yourself, surround yourself with some tools that can help you, and then start having the conversation. Would you also be interested in new homes? And you might find, yes, I am kind of interested, or maybe homes 1 to 3 years old, all right? So start thinking about that if you want to venture into this, how you're gonna position yourself to participate, because 50% of the people are either in the market or indifferent to buying a new home. 13% of agents don't show new home. That number surprised me because when I talk to agents, that number seems that it's about 90% of the agents don't show new homes, okay? And 84% of the buyers out there in the marketplace are going to use an agent in the transaction process, okay? That means when the homes are being sold in this marketplace, they're being sold by an agent helping them. 70% of all new homes sold were represented by an agent, okay? So 7 out of 10 new homes are represented by an agent.
What's the source of this stat?
Where did we get that data from? Do you recall?
The 7 out of 10?
Yeah.
No, all of it.
All the
So, NAR Buyer Guide, Buyers 2015, BIA, they did a study in National Association of Home Builders. So, those are the 3 main sources: NAHB, BIA, and NAR.
Thank you.
That's a good question. So, you know a little bit about why people are buying new homes, what interests them, who they are, a little bit about it. But what we want to do, I think the next step is kind of working with builders. How do you interact with them, and how do you get informed about what's available out in the marketplace? First of all, how many of you go and do broker tours? Right? Most of you, right? You go get your list and you drive around and you see what homes are available in the marketplace. So we're saying take that same concept, and we've got a map tool that we can show you, but I suspect today you wouldn't, if you said you wanted to go look at new homes in Sunnyvale, you probably wouldn't know where to start, right? There just isn't a whole lot of data out there. But we'll show you a tool that we have that will allow you to see that data. And so what we want you to do, and what our suggestion is if you want to get involved with new home communities, is take that same concept and start to visit the new home communities. You might say, you know what, I want to go look at the new home communities in Sunnyvale today, and I'm going to create my own little broker tour, and I'm going to go visit 6 of these, and you can map it out. And what we wanna do is have you guys, when you get out there, make sure you wear your badge if you have a badge. And that way, when you walk into the new home community, they know that you're not an interested buyer, but they know that you're a realtor, okay? And that will just change the way that they're gonna engage with you right out of the gates. Start to build relationships. So much like you do on the broker tours, you meet other agents and you start to build relationships with them, and you can talk about reciprocal business, what homes you have available. Jonathan likes to point out a lot that this marketplace is very small. So when you start to build relationships with the new home community sales managers, you're most likely, if you stay in this niche, are going to see them in other communities as one sells out, they'll move to another community. So it's a small group of community sales managers, much like the real estate community, that you'll get to know over time. So start building relationships by going out, introducing yourself, let them know that you're a realtor with KW or Coldwell Banker, and that you want to learn more about the community and start to bring some of your customers through these models.
And just to jump in, I know.
Yeah, please
this
do.
is usually where I jump in, but I always like to make the point and drive it home. It is small. You're gonna see a lot of the same people moving around. They might change builders, they might change communities, but they're gonna be in the industry. If you go to the broker tours, where the builders actually do events specifically for broker agents, you're gonna meet the director of marketing. The person's always there. That person is definitely not gonna be getting outside of the industry. Those people stay in there for 30 years. So you really, it pays dividends to take the time, meet the sales associates, meet the marketing directors if you can, and develop that relationship. Because when you come in and they know that you've sold 10 of their homes in their last community, and one of your clients happen to go to their current community without you, well, what are your chances of them turning, looking the other way and saying, okay, yeah, you did accompany him and you still get that commission? It's higher if you have that personal relationship. So just keep that in mind. It's just something to drive home.
And we'll talk about accompanying your customers on the first visit. I think it's important. As you start to visit the communities and start to build relationships, introductions, start asking questions, okay? And I think these are important questions. Understand how they're cooperating with realtors, right? Builders tend to operate similar, but a little bit differently. They may require you to sign in. They may be paying 2% commission. They may be paying 3% commission. They might have an accelerator that might say, I'll pay you 2% on the first home, 3% on the second home, 4% on the third home, or we might be paying a flat fee of $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000, okay? So ask those questions. How are you cooperating with realtors? Also, while you're out there, gather the sales collateral, much like you would in a resale home. There's probably gonna be a flyer there that's gonna have all the particulars about that home. The builders will have the same thing. They'll have floor plans, they'll have pricing sheets, okay? The different models that are available. So when you're out, I'm gonna call them broker tours. When you're out on your broker tours for new homes, you're out introducing yourself to the community sales manager. You're asking them how they're cooperating with realtors, and then you start gathering all that collateral, okay? As you do that, let's say that you did that through 5 new home communities in Sunnyvale in one day. If a customer asks you tomorrow about homes for sale in Sunnyvale, you can now start to say, well, here's the resale homes that are available. We talked a little bit more about you're looking for something newer. There's also about 5 new home communities in Sunnyvale that might be in your price range that you might have of interest. So it just changes your conversation and starts to provide you with the ability to provide more inventory for your customers that you wouldn't have otherwise. Just like you would in a resale home. Walk the models, right? You walk the floor plans of any resale home, go in and walk the different models. It might be vertical, and you might say this would never work for my client. They might have single floor units available. So go ahead and walk the models, check out the community, take photographs, videos. If you're big into blogging or social media, capture some photos, a video of it, post it on Facebook. Let your customers know, I was out at Classic Communities Paloma Place today. This might be a great community for those looking to take advantage of the schools in Sunnyvale and looking for a newer. Go ahead and let your customers know that you can help them beyond the resale. Right? There's also interest lists. Builders have interest lists. What builders typically do is they'll roll out their models in phases, okay? And as information comes available, what they'll continue to do is push that out to their customers, potential clients, brokers, agents that have signed up. And that way you're constantly getting fed through your email now on updates. They might have 2 homes left that they want to blow out. They'll probably push that out to their interest list saying that we have a closeout sale, right? They'll also push out information like grand openings happening, right? Or on phase 4 is launching, those type of stuff. It's a way I call it keeping your ear to the ground on the communities, on what's going on. So join the interest list. Mention a little bit about grand openings. As you start to kind of keep your ear to the ground and you start to work with the community sales managers, they will also let you know when events are coming up, whether it's a grand opening, a new release, broker tours, those types of things. They all come available, and I'll give you some ideas on social media and how you can kind of keep your ear to the ground, because builders like to use social media because it's a free way of communicating to the public about releases of new homes, grand openings, broker tours, what's going on in the marketplace. Jonathan mentioned a company, and I think this is an important one that has to be stressed. Builders, if you send your customer into a builder community and they go in and they sign themselves in, and then a week later you bring your customer in, the builder's gonna say, no, that's my customer, okay? So it's very important, and this is in most cases, all right? Every builder is a little bit differently, but we try to make sure that we kind of articulate, accompany your customers on the first visit, okay? Or if you join the interest list or you want to sign in one of your customers, always tether your name with them. So you would put, sign on the interest list, Sean Oliver / I'm with Coldwell Banker and my client's name. So try to tether yourself with it. Or let your customer know, this weekend, why don't we go out to that Paloma place over Classic Communities, we'll walk it together, we'll sign in. And so it's an important piece because builders they're doing many different avenues to get customers in. If they get them on their interest list, they're gonna claim that that's their client. And you could run into a situation where they say, no, we're not gonna pay you commission because that's our customer, all right? And I think, Jonathan, you were trying to touch on that as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's when you talk about doing your own little broker tour, if you can get your buyer out there and in the car, hit as many as you can, just sign them up. If it's in their price range and it's in what they're looking for, it's definitely behooves you to do that. Take them out. Do it old school, pick them up, bring them out. it's how people used to do with buyers.
Any questions on that? Has anyone had any experience where they ran into challenges with that? You have?
Yeah, a good friend of mine I sold a new community home to last year down in Morgan Hill, but he was working down in the area and he'd be calling me, oh, hey, I just popped into KB Homes down here, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
man, don't sign anything, let me go with you. And
Exactly.
I was trying to reiterate that to him numerous times, but I ended up taking him to another community down in Morgan Hill and accompanied him and showed him the models and stuff, and introduced myself as the realtor and stuff so I could get compensated. But
Yeah.
it's like pulling teeth getting him to not show up without me there, and I'm like, hey, just call me, let me know, I'll shoot
Yeah.
down there.
Well, it's a great point, and again, we try to hammer home this because one thing that consumers are armed with right now is the internet, right? And they're armed with information, and they're gonna want to go out there and do all the heavy lifting, and at the very end saying, okay, come in, or I wanna go look at this home, right? And so being in front of that, and I'll get to just a second, being in front of that and letting them know that new home communities, that we've got to go in together, right? It's important that we go together. And if they can't listen to that, again, make sure that they put their name on an interest list, they're tethering it with your name, and that way you have some sort of paperwork that shows that they're tethered with you. You had a question?
That brings up 2 of them actually, but one of them was when you said, oh, put on Facebook that I went out and I looked at these new homes. My first thought was, well, that just raises the flag, and they go, oh, new homes, we can go see them anytime. And Janice liked them, so we should just go see them.
Yeah.
And so I would anticipate the same kind of problem that this gentleman had. The other one was, I told really good clients of mine, do not go look at those Lennar homes off
Yeah.
of Cottle.
Yeah. No
If
oil,
you
yeah.
wanna see them, I will go with you. If you go, don't sign anything. So they went in, and it was two women, two wives of, men, but they signed in as a lesbian couple. Now, are we okay there if I then go back and say, oh, here's my client with her husband to buy a house?
That I don't know, I don't have the answer to that one there.
I can tell you they're
I
not
thought it
gonna
was
give you
funny.
commission.
I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty
If they're
creative of
signed
them.
up,
Yeah, I mean,
They want
again,
to know.
right, I mean, if they sign in, typically, it depends, and Jonathan touched on the fact about
If you have a
relations.
relationship.
Right, when you start building those relationships, I can think of, I think of Belle, who works with us and sells primarily new homes. She's built so many relationships in the Sunnyvale Mountain View area. She's got the community sales managers calling her to say, hey, I've got something that fell out of contract. Do you have anybody that you can have to kind of get this sold? I've talked to other folks up in San Francisco, and actually there was a woman here in Menlo Park. She's got a great relationship with the shipyard. What she can do now is she can send her clients to the shipyard without having to go all the way to San Francisco because she has a relationship with the builder there. So I think it goes back to that earlier slide. It comes down to building relationships, and just like anywhere that any business you do, when you have built a strong relationship, there's a bond there, and that allows you a little bit more flexibility than you would have otherwise. So, and that's why, I don't think we can spend too much time here, because I think it is important that you want to accompany them or build that relationship with your customer and the home builder. And when that happens, it'll free up some of the challenges that you had faced with, your customer going in, because that is a problem, but there is a solution to it in most cases, right? And behaviors, as we all know within people, they're erratic and you can't control. And if you try to control for 100%, you're gonna fail every time, right? But you can control for 80, 90% of your customers, right? So, but good dialogue, good questions. That kind of leads, it's a good segue into building your value proposition, okay? So you're gonna wanna establish, well, why do I need to use you? I can go walk into that community that you post on Facebook without you and walk the floor plans, right? Yeah, you can do that. Do you really want to? Probably not, right? Would you go to court without being represented? Do you want to purchase one of the biggest purchases of your lifetime and not have representation? The community sales managers, and it's not that they're bad in any way, but their job is to sell that home at the highest price possible, right? There may be incentives that are out there that they won't let you know about or won't bring up because you don't know about it, right? So the agent, as you start to work with the builders, you start to understand, wow, they're offering $5,000, $10,000 cash back on this stuff. That's information that you have that you can present to your customer. You also understand a lot of the legal terms and all that type of stuff, and you can assist your clients. So start thinking about when your customer says, well, I can walk into that community without you. Well, yeah, but why wouldn't you be represented by me, right? You understand the comps and the resale values. There's all kinds of different homes within each community. There might be a 3-story, a 2-story, a bad location. You understand the comps and the resale values. You might tell your customer, look, let's stay clear of this one. It's in a really bad part of this new home community. It backs up to the freeway. The resale value is not going to be as good as something up front, right? So you understand the marketplace, you understand the comps. That's a value when you talk to your customers about why they don't want to go and walk on their own. You understand the emotions, the contract negotiations. I like to say as an agent, what you can be communicating is you don't have to worry. You can go about your daily business, picking up your kids, working all that stuff. Let me work with the builder on all the negotiations, the contracts, all the escrow stuff like that, so that you can go on with your day-to-day, and I can help you stay within your budget. Buyer incentives, upgrades, and this came up earlier. We talked about this before we even got started today about negotiating. Right now, the market is so strong, right? It's hard to negotiate. You don't have a whole lot of negotiating power on a home that's $900,000, and you got people bidding 10% over, right? There's not a whole lot of negotiating, saying, "Hey, I'll give you $850 cash." It ain't gonna happen. Same thing with the new home communities right now. People are lining up at new home communities, right? You can see them happen in Newark, where I went to a grand opening, and they had about 500 people show up at this grand opening, right? Huge. A lot of people are interested in this community, which means that if you're trying to negotiate on behalf of your customer, chances are you're not going to, because they're gonna say, I've got about 20 other people that are lined up here that want, right? When the market softens, and it will, then what happens is the realtor has a little bit more negotiating power at that time. Will you throw in a $500 rebate, $5,000 rebate? Can I get floors upgraded for free? Yeah, we can do that for you, right? I was with a realtor, you mentioned Morgan Hill. I lived out in Morgan Hill, and I was out in Loden Place, and a realtor came in. They had 2 models left to get sold out there, and Christina, the community sales manager, when I was sitting with her, a realtor walked in, and Christina said to her, the woman asked and introduced herself. She had her badge on, and she asked, how are you cooperating? What percentage are you giving? And she said, we're giving 3%, but I got 2 homes left. Sell one for me and I'll give you 4%, all right? So she didn't really negotiate. The realtor didn't negotiate with Christina, but Christina immediately came out of her pocket and said, we're going to give you an extra 4%. Down in LA right now, where things are starting to soften up a little bit in the new home community, some of the city venture communities, Christina told me, are offering 6%. So that's that ebb and flow. When things are strong, people don't bend over and give you concessions, right? When things are soft, people start offering more incentives and making concessions.
And when things are strong, there's still common sense things that the buyers might not think of. Like, where are you buying? That's a big one. What lot are you gonna get? So you're gonna pay the same price. You're not gonna be able to negotiate on price and upgrades and things like that, but you can say, look at this, look at the lot. Let's pick the right lot. Let's pick one on the interior that's not gonna be having any street noise, that's not gonna have any issues. You know, things like that. There's a lot of intrinsic type items that you can help them with that will seem like negotiating, but really aren't.
Right.
So.
And again, that's providing the value. Again, you talked about even with the Morgan Hill, and let's say you're talking with a community sales manager, and your client goes in, and there's 2 homes left that are built, right? And they're not the best lots that are left out there because they're the last 2. But you know what? Phase 3 starts in 2 weeks. And there might be a great lot in phase 3 if they're willing to wait another 3-4 months, right? And so as a realtor, you can steer and have that conversation with your customer saying, yeah, you can buy that one today, but I don't think the resale value is gonna be great on that one. It's not the best location. I was just talking with Christine, the community sales manager. Phase 3 launches in 2 weeks. I really think that we should be looking at this lot here, okay? So again, you're providing value to your customer on why they want to use you in this process, okay? And why they don't want to go to court alone, okay? Lastly, it costs them absolutely nothing, right? And the builders, when they model their homes, and you probably know this, they model it knowing that they're gonna be paying commissions, and I think a lot of builders will model probably 7 out of 10 of their homes are gonna be sold with the help of an agent, so they're gonna be paying commission. If they choose 3%, they build that into the model, right? Some of the boutique builders, the smaller builders, in this time right now, they may not even be offering commissions for agents, because you know what? They're popping up 4 homes, and they've got an interest list 500 deep, and 10, 15 people saying, here's a check, I want one, right? They're not gonna work with an agent. Why should they? They've got them all sold, right? They don't even need to put any marketing dollars. All they do is prop up a sign on a great corner. They're sold, right? You know this. You're shaking your head. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You know it well.
Now, Sean,
Yeah.
one other thing that is worth mentioning is the knowledge of construction
Mm-hmm.
that you can offer your client.
Give me an example.
Well, here's an example. One of my last new homes that I sold,
Mhm.
I represented the buyer. They, you know, the construction wasn't completed. So we asked if we could walk through. In most cases, they won't let, because of liability
Right.
insurance.
Let's get your hard
But
hat.
I know this person, you know, the sales manager, so she let us go through. So I picked up on a-
Relationship.
Yeah, picked up on a couple of issues that certainly the buyer would not know, especially if they're first-time home buyers. Even experienced buyers may not understand construction. So when we came back, I explained some of these to the buyer, So when we came back to the sales office, we discussed it, and they said, oh yeah, okay, that's not a big deal, we'll change it for you. But if you didn't know.
Right, and again, what you're doing is building credibility,
Yeah.
right? And when you build that credibility, I'm convinced if your customers saw another new home community out there, that they're not gonna go start walking around and asking questions, they're gonna call you because they know you're the
Yeah.
expert, right? None of you are probably, I mean, you're much further on than most people, but none of you are the expert to start with. And again, if you wanna get involved in new homes, start to plot out a plan, a goal of what you want to achieve over the next 1, 2, 3 years. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it is getting involved in understanding where the communities are, building relationships. We'll talk a little bit about maybe joining the BIA and the construction sites out there where you start getting information about what's going on in the building communities around here. And you'll start to understand some of the challenges they're having. Like they're having challenges up in the Dublin area right now on building more homes, getting permits to build homes, because the schools can't support all the new home communities, right? And so if your customer says, you know, about that, you can articulate, look, here's what's happening right now with new home construction. Here's some positive things, here's other things that could impact what's going on. The more that you understand what's going on, the more value you bring, and the more trust, and the more likely they're not gonna go into a new home community without you because they want the best lawyer available when they go to court, right?
Mountain House had that water issue.
That's right, Mountain House, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
little things you get to know about.
Right, and so the Mountain House issue, if I recall, was something that they were buying their water and they weren't able to control the cost of it, so there's gonna be this extreme rate hike for Mountain House, right? If you understood that and you had a client that was looking out in the Mountain House, which is over the 580 as you go past the
Before
window.
Tracy.
There you go, exactly, before Tracy. You would caution your customer, you know what, here's what's going on out there, right? I'm gonna say that we stay away from those new home communities out there. If you're still interested, let's start looking at some resale communities that are maybe 1 to 3 years old that are outside of that, right? Again, bringing value for your customers on why they wanna work with you and why they don't wanna go visit a new home community without you present. Coming soon communities, we do a video series, so we try to do this type of conversation with our tool, and we provide videos that you can watch. We talk more about coming soon communities, and I'll get into our database, our tool shortly here. One of the things that we do is we list all the coming soon communities as well. And we get, when we find permits on what's going on in the Bay Area, we populate these. So what we found is that builders will prop up signs next to dirt, right? There's a corner and all of a sudden they just put the sign of the name of the community. People go to the internet, they can't really find anything. But when people have a lack of information, they're starved to find some answers, okay? So what we do is we build this into the tool so that if your customers are looking in a particular area, they can see what's coming soon and have conversations and connect with you very early in the process to start asking you questions about a new home community that there doesn't seem to be any information. You may or may not have much information either, but what it starts to do is it starts to tether you very early in that process with your customer and saying, oh, that community by DR Horton, they haven't released any information yet. I'm on their interest list, so what I will do is as that information comes available, I'll make sure that I get that information. So don't worry about that. I'll be doing all the heavy lifting for you. In the interim, are you still interested in these resale homes or what have you? Are there any other new home communities in that area that you want to look at? Okay, so I just point that out.
And don't be frustrated by, a lot of times, we find that communities that are coming soon, they might be 6 months out, and the builders might not even have a sales representative ready to talk to anybody. They're not ready to do any marketing. But we know, since from the permit, we know it's coming, it's gonna be coming. So we don't know what pricing is, because the builder's not gonna set that until they're ready. We don't know we might know what beds and baths are, we might know square footage, but that can all change also. They'll do last minute changes with the architecture. But you become that source of information now. The builder's not ready to talk to anybody, even you, or the buyer. So now you be proactive, you get all the information from the builder, You update your buyer so they don't have to worry about it, they don't have to stay on top of it, they don't have to put it on their calendar, oh, 3 months from now, I gotta check on this community. You're there for them. And it really is one of the better ways to work with the buyers and gain buyers is these coming soon communities. These are the ones that they're really interested about. These are where the builder hasn't started marketing yet, so you can position yourself on your blog, your social media, and get some SEO going and start answering questions as you get information. So don't be frustrated by that. A lot of agents that use our tool are frustrated, say, oh, I don't have any information and the buyer's mad, or they're wondering, well, why don't you know the information? Well, it's not released yet. You just keep positioning yourself as the expert, and that you'll stay up to date on it so they don't have to.
So this kind of a good segue into this here is as builders prop up their communities or their signage, but they still have dirt, their number one goal is to start to create a buzz in the marketplace, right? They don't necessarily want you to call them so much. They don't necessarily want you to email them so much. They want you to join their interest list so they can capture you as their customer. Okay? And that way they can start feeding you information. That's their number one goal. Lasso, I believe it is.
Lasso's this.
Right. They work with new home builders across the country, and what they did is they did a survey because they believed, and we've heard feedback from this from many customers, is that builders, and not all builders, not all created equal, do not respond to people because they want them to walk into their community, right? I'm the community sales manager, walk in, I don't want to do a whole lot of outbound marketing, calling you back because you're asking me if you're gonna have HOA fees or if there's gonna be trees in the backyard, those type of things. They don't wanna respond to those questions, they want you to walk in. So Lasso did a survey and they started emailing and calling builders. Staggering is what they expected. 39% of the folks never even called back a lead. And 70% of them didn't even email back a customer that had a request, okay? It could be, I mean, this was a nationwide study. I think it could be a product of what's happening right now because they've got so many people walking in the doors that are able and capable buyers. So when someone emails or calls them up and saying, hey, are you gonna have BMRs? No, we're not, I'm not calling you back, right? Right? Can I put a palm tree, right? Will the HOAs, what are the HOAs? I'm not calling you back, I got 20 people that wanna buy a home, okay? So what that means is that the builders are spending their time and energy on people that are walking in, where the rest of the people out there that want information that aren't walking in aren't getting answered, all right? And that's where the realtor is, again, back to your value proposition, where you can take advantage. If you have access to data, and you start to build relationships, you can start being that missing link when customers are interested in new homes that you can answer and get those questions for them. You know, I don't know if they have HOAs. Let me see if I can find that out for you, right? Call your community sales manager, right? This is follow-up, we'll kind of go resources. And National Association of Home Builders. So if you are interested, and you had mentioned, you know, about getting involved in construction, where do I get that information? Their website, nahb.org. I love Twitter. You can follow them on Twitter. You can also follow them on Facebook. If you're interested in getting involved in new home communities, I highly recommend that you go to this website. You can download housing data, what's going on in the area, okay, which is very helpful. There's also the BIA, bayarea.org. This is all in this area right here. I'm a member of this. I go to their events. I get to meet a lot of the marketing managers. I get to meet the gentleman that purchased the dirt. So I start to learn more about construction and what they look for and how much they're looking to buy dirt for and how much they want to sell the homes based on how much they buy the dirt for. So following them, you can follow them on Twitter, you can go to their website, you can also follow them on Facebook. Okay. Another thing, I mentioned that I like Twitter. If you're Twitter tweeters, if you will, I'm at iRealEstateTalk, okay? What I've done is I've created a list. So you can go into, if you went into my Twitter site, you can go to my list and you're gonna see new home construction. you can click on that and grab that list, okay? So you can follow my list. And what I do is I've gone in and I started following all the new home construction builders throughout this whole area. And so what I can do is, Twitter's a lot of noise if you're following a lot of people, right? I'm following almost 600 people. But I can go into my list and say, you know what? I don't want to see any tweet if they're not on new home community or new home builder. I click on my list and I immediately see all the tweets from the new home builders in the communities. And I can quickly spend 3 to 5 minutes a day, and I can look for things in the week, big tweets like grand opening, broker event this weekend, all these types of things that keep my ear low to the ground on what's going on. So I've done all the heavy lifting already on compiling that list. I also have Bay Area Realtor Voices that people can follow. A lot of the realtors and brokers, I'll follow that list, and that way I can see what realtors and brokers and what they're doing. So if you want to follow that list as well, you can see how other realtors in this area are using social media to promote, how they're promoting their homes that they might have. And so, again, just trying to use, I like to use free tools as much as possible. Certification. There's a course put on by the California Association of Realtors. It's a buyer agent course, and it counts towards your accredited buyer representative, the ADR designation, okay? Worked with a few people that have taken this course. It goes into a lot more in depth than what we are going into here today, all right? So.
It's a great, we really recommend people, if you wanna get into this, that you take this course. Like the gentleman over here stated, you know, if you wanna know a little bit more about construction, the phases, if I'm gonna buy, what phase are they in, how long is it gonna take me to get my home? You might buy a home and not get it for 6 months. So what phase are they in? Keeping your buyers updated on what's happening with their home, where it is, that kind of stuff. The car class was much more in detail about the construction and the nitty-gritty about construction, as well as the overall, some of the things that we're going over.
Yeah, I think it's about a 4-hour class, and so if you went to the California Association of Realtors site, you'd be able to look at all the different classes. So there is that home
Sean?
construction. Yes.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
So for Jonathan. So is there any tool that tells you once you purchase a home and you said it might take 6 months, that would keep you updated on the status, like what's going on with the specific home, like?
Other than communicating with the builder, I
Right.
don't know of one that the
Well,
builders use.
Like if you had
Exactly.
a way to know, like through the computer, like, okay, they're working on this, they're working on that.
No, and you're right on. It is those relationships. And one thing, it's I think it can be tough for some folks that have been selling resale that want to get over in here, that you've got to change your hat a little bit and how you think about new home communities and resale. Because resale, think about it, it is what it is. It's 1,321 square foot. It's 22 years old. It's sold for this price and it's available for this price, right? It's all black and white. New home construction is very fluid. There could be a new home community, it could be 1,320 something square foot homes all the way to 2,400. And the pricing can be starting in the mid 600s, but also go all the way to 900 depending on what home you're gonna be. Also, things like today impact what's happening with builders, right? Everything from the very beginning. I bought dirt, we're gonna release these homes on January 1. You know what? No, you're not, because they found something in your dirt and you didn't get the permit because you gotta get someone out here to clean out some oils or contaminants and those types of things. Oh, the rain came and it delayed, so we didn't get people in here to frame the home, so now we're about 2 weeks, 3 weeks back. So with new homes, everything's really fluid, and unless you're keeping your ear to the ground and talking with the community sales managers, you're not aware of those things. So again, it goes back to those broker tours that you do, and you find out, all of you know what's going on with every resale home in their area of influence. Have those same drives and start asking those questions. How's phase 3 coming along? You guys on target? Yes, we are. No, we're not. Looks like we're about 3 weeks behind now, right? So, certificate here. We'll go into our tool. I want to be mindful. We started about 5 minutes late. We're scheduled to go to 12. I don't have to be, I've got to be in Los Gatos at 2. If anybody wants to leave, we're going to go into our product right now. If anybody feels that you got the information you wanted, you're not interested in the product that we have, feel free to leave. If you wanna leave at 12, feel free to leave. If you wanna stay late, Jonathan and I will be here and we can answer any questions or even spend more time looking at our tool. I didn't want this conversation to be about so much about our product as much as it is about letting people know that there's a whole lot more inventory out there in the new home segment, and if you're interested in it, some ideas about how to get started, okay? That was one of the promises I made to Jim Harrison when we talked about a partnership, is he said, I don't want you just coming in here and selling your tool. I agree, right? Because the tool is going to be useless if you don't know how to use it. Okay? It will be, it's like any other tool. If you don't know how to saw, don't buy a saw. Okay, let's go with that. You don't like that one? Our tool is called New Homes Navigator, okay, and I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll get online and we can actually play with it a little bit. What we've done is, because when I talk to agents, you have the ability through your MLSs to go ahead and search every resale home that's available, right? It's on the MLS. And you can send your customers to go ahead and look, and customers can find that information. But if I asked you today to show me all the new homes that are available in Morgan Hill, or Mountain View, or Sunnyvale, you probably wouldn't know. And if a customer came to you today and said, Jonathan, what new homes are available in Morgan Hill? You probably wouldn't have the answer. You'd probably say, well, let me go find out for you, okay? So what we try to do is we try to kind of fill that gap. So when someone comes to your website, or someone comes to you and says, I wanna look for homes for sale, we want you to be in a position to say, okay, you wanna look at resale homes, you wanna look at new homes? I got all that data available for you. No, I only wanna look at new homes. No, I only wanna look at resale, or, yeah, I'd like to look at both of those. Great, you can go to my website. And so, and I'll show you how people are integrating and kind of best practices for this. Let me go here. And let's go. Okay, so this is my personalized website. What we've done is we've branded it for the agent, okay? What we've done here is a nice map. We've tried to create a utility that will allow the users to go in. And we talked about Morgan Hill. So I can go down here, I can see there's 11 communities in Morgan Hill. I can click on here and I can quickly see every new home community that is in Morgan Hill. Note, this is mobile enabled as well, okay? So it's a mobile tool. And you can actually, if you were driving somewhere, we've got a little GPS that you can hit the button, and it'll show you all the new homes within your location. So you might be driving around an area and find yourself up by San Mateo now, and you're like, what new home communities are here? You can hit the button, and it's gonna show you what homes, and you can get directions out there. So now this could be you, looking at your own tool, because you wanna find out what homes your customer asked you about in Morgan Hill. You can come in here and quickly see what the homes are available. Let's see here. Trouble with the internet. Let me refresh here. Go back to Morgan Hill. Everybody's gonna give it time, Johnny?
Now it's loaded.
No, it's
Is that
loading.
working?
No, it's just loading, it said.
Yeah.
Okay. So what it does, when you click, you can either go with the map or you can use the right-hand side. This is gonna be, you're gonna have all the photos here of the new home community. You're gonna get your information. When I talked about, unlike a resale home, it's more fluid. These are 4 to 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, square footage anywhere from 3,300 to 5,000. Prices are gonna start in the millions, and they give you some square foot. I'm connected to every new home community throughout California with this mapping tool, okay? So we pull the data for all of California. So if you didn't wanna have all the data in California, we can go ahead and narrow that down. I've got customers up in San Francisco that says, look, I only focus on San Francisco, I don't wanna focus anywhere else. All we do is display San Francisco for that, okay? We've got other clients that say, no way, I want all of California because I got a bunch of friends down in San Diego and LA, and if I got someone interested, I'm gonna refer them to them, and I'm gonna get a commission off of them. So you have the ability here that if I was interested, I could put my name, email, phone number, all these inquiries go directly to you. And then we have an automated inquiry feedback that says, thank you, I've received that email. So immediately that happens, so we let them know. We give them information about the community and about the builder. And I'm logged, let me go ahead, and you'll see that that's it right there, okay, on this community. What I can do as well is I can log in for myself. And what we wanted this is to be kind of a two-way tool that I can allow, you can send your clients to this link, or you can come in. Again, I'm back here, I've logged in, and now you're gonna see additional information down here, agent information. Now I've got access to the phone number, I can call the community up. I can email the community sales manager. I can click here and I go directly to the builder's community page. So again, we're doing all the heavy lifting for you. So if someone asks you about this community, then you don't have to go, oh my God, Jonathan just asked me about this community, now what, right? We've done the heavy lifting. You can go to their website, maybe there's floor plans there, additional information. You can call them up and say, hey, I'm working with a client of mine, Jonathan Wilhelm. When can we come down to see this community? You can also use this as an outbound list as well. You can click on this link here and share this community with someone. So you might be working with someone that was interested in Morgan Hill, and you can send them a link after you went to your tool and looked at all the communities in Morgan Hill and saying, this is perfect for Jonathan. I click on that, I send him the link. He clicks on the link, it pops him right into here. If he's got any questions, he can inquire directly to you.
And all of that is also included when somebody contacts you, they get the response email with your information on there, a little message, don't leave home without me type thing. But all that information at the bottom is also emailed to you with the request for information. So this person requests information about this community, here's their phone number, their website, their email, everything you need to know right there. So if you're on the road, you can just click to call, or you can just, if you need more information, you can look it all up right there.
Yeah, so let's see here. Here's an example. Some folks, what they're doing is Tim Warman works with us, and this is an example of how to promote his tool. So this is his website here, Home for Sale. Now he's got new homes for sale. He does seminars for new homes because he knows it's big. He just moved here from LA, he's from here, and when he moved back here, he just said, look, there's so many new homes, I wanna focus my time and energy on new homes because it's just an easier sale for me. The builders do all the heavy lifting. And I don't wanna spend all my time writing orders and getting outbid, okay? So he's focused heavily on this. He's trying to get all his customers to come to this new home seminar, and then he's taking them out. So he built right into his website, New Home Finder, he's calling it, and it takes him directly into his tool. And again, you see all the communities, all these go directly to Tim, so all the leads go directly to him. Got his name, email, and we got a link back, so if you were to click on this, it takes you right back to his core website. So that's one way that we're saying, if you spend time and money getting people into your website, and you're only showing them resale homes, think about, do you want to show them new homes? And then you can put that link and embed it right there. Here's another gentleman up in San Francisco. This is Mark Choi. He's the head of Klein Real Estate, but he also has a website as well called SF Developments. And he was trying to get this data because he sells a lot of the communities or the homes for sale in San Francisco are a lot of the high rises, right? So he was trying to build out this database, and he just said, look, when he saw our tool at Inman Connect, he just said, I want it. And what he's done is he's got featured projects, and instead of having this list that was outdated that he had to manage, now he pops you in here. What he's done is he created it into iframes. And what I mean by that is it still sits with this heading up here for him, right? And so it takes you off the site, but it still keeps you in, so people want to go back to home, they can. Okay, so there's a couple different ways that you can go ahead and feature this tool into your core website. And again, so, Milpitas, if I clicked on Milpitas, you got all the new home communities is here as well. I can quickly see that there's 11 homes in Milpitas. I can search again, even if I wanted to go to San Diego, for example. You have filters here, what you wanted to see, condos, urban high-rise, you can put in. And go into satellite. And that's right. So again, we personalize these. If some of you purchase Zillow, you'll know that you're competing with other people when they come to Zillow. What we wanted to do here was, if you got someone into your website, that every home was connected to you, okay? And I wanna go back to, like a sense of time, I wanna go back to here and show you just a few more things, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap up on here, on other ways of promoting. Let's just go here real quick. This is, when someone submits an inquiry, let's see here. Let's see here, a couple more slides. This is what the inquiry looks like. If I submitted, or customers submitted an inquiry, this would get emailed to you immediately. It would let you know the person's name, their email address, their phone, and what they've said to you. You'll get all the information, a link in here, a link to go to the builder, phone number, all the information will come directly to you. Simultaneously, your client gets an email as well that says, thank you for inquiring, I'll be in touch with you shortly. We put in here important reminders: buyers must be accompanied by their agent on the first visit. 5 reasons why new home buyers should work with a realtor. We list those. In the agent back-end tool, we have customers that said, yeah, I like that wording, but I want it to be my own. So we created the ability to amend that. You can erase all this or just amend it and update it yourself to personalize it even more. Respond lightning fast. I mentioned we have a video series, so conversations like this we post on to the agent's admin tool, so you can go in and watch videos as well about working with new home communities. Publish and promote. If you are using Twitter or Facebook, this was here, I think I showed you this already, about integrating in your website. Belle, what she did is she added new homes to her website. You click, we talked about Tim and how he did it. This is on, think about how many emails that you send out to customers on a regular basis, right? Here's an example. When you're doing that, add a link in there that says, search for new home construction, right? I love, I think you mentioned here the way that Libby did it. She said here, this was how her normal email signature would be. Now she added all this. New home listings, search new home construction communities. You click on that, you go to Libby's website. And I thought this was brilliant here. Reminder, for new home representation, buyers must be accompanied by their agent on the first visit. So don't leave home without me, right? And so she just thought of a creative way just to kind of, again, pound home to her customers, use me in this process. We talked about social media, promoting on social media. Tim just getting started in this area. He's got 91 followers, buying brand new homes. He's promoting out. You click on that, it takes him to his construction tool. This is a gentleman up in San Francisco promoting out that he has a new home map tool. I loved it here. He got 75 others to like that. And if you think about, you know, the viralness of that, free advertising, promoting out, again, free ways that if you had the tool, that you can go ahead and communicate, right? Add a link to your website, put it on your email signature, promote if you're using social media. You can use the share button to share that community. You can also, if you have a database of people that you send out newsletters to or emails to, let them know that you have a tool that allow them to search. You know, you're interested in new home construction, you can click on this, you can email that out to all your customers and get them into your tool so they can start searching for new homes. Buyers use social media in the process, we talked about that. I think everyone's heard the number, 90% of people start their new home search on the web, all right? As much as we may not like them, we want them to come to us first. They're doing their homework, they're going to the web, and they're doing that first. 35% of them use social media in their process for buying a home. You know, this is no surprise. The more money you have, the more you can spend, the more you can do, right? But rich real estate agent, poor real estate agent study. Rich agents spend 10 times more on marketing, 6 times more on technology. As our audience gets younger and is growing up, the more and more they're going to use technology, the more and more real estate agents, people like ourselves, have to use technology to get the word out, all right? It just is what it is. That really kind of concludes. I'm 1 minute over, my apologies. My information is here if you have any questions. If you wanna stick around, you can. We have a partnership with MLS Listings, and so our product is an annual product. It's $5.98 a year, but for LS Listing subscribers, it's $3.98 a year, all right? I have business cards. I have a flyer as a reminder that has my business cards on it. Feel free to grab one of those if you would like. And again, I don't need to leave here until 1 o'clock. I can go back through any of this stuff if anybody wants to spend some time. If not, thank you very much. Hopefully it was helpful for you. And if you're interested in working with new home communities, good luck. I think that 2016 promises to be another strong year for new homes. I don't think this market's gonna slow down for probably, in my guess, 18 to 24 months before we start to see it slow. You're starting to see interest rates going up a little bit, which is starting to soften things a bit, but it's gonna be strong for some time to be. Any questions? Yeah. Okay, let's see.
You have the PowerPoint,
Yeah.
specifically just the stats, email, if I give you mine.
Yeah, you can go ahead and give me a card. I'll give you some data. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Any portion of this available to the public?
It's not available to the public unless you make it available to your clients. Okay. There are tools, or I wouldn't say tools, I mean, you've got New Home Source, MLS Listings partners with New Home Source. You can go in and find information about new home communities and then bring it back to your customer. What we try to do is try to link it all together, that you can send a tool to your customer. One thing about New Home Source as well, as Jonathan mentioned earlier before many of you, we audit ourselves against them. We have probably 25% more communities than they do. And one thing about New Home Source is it's a pay-for-play model. So if someone isn't purchasing to be on their site, they won't be there, right? It's like looking for, I don't know, anything that you want to purchase, and the only thing that you're going to see is those that are purchasing to be on the site. Our goal is to say, I don't care if you're purchasing anything from us, we just want data. We want the best consumer experience so that all the homes are listed there available for you. So, yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, do you find any rental restrictions on any of the new home communities?
Rental
That would
restrictions.
be up to an HOA.
Yeah, it's an HOA. I mentioned I bought a new home community about 12 years ago. We have rental restrictions in our community, but it's all driven by the HOA. Yeah.
I think what she's asking is when you buy a brand new, whether it's a
Yeah.
HOA or
2
single
years.
family home,
Yeah.
the builder will not sell to investors
Yeah,
more than
that's
so
what
many
I,
units.
I think,
Yeah.
what's the
Oh.
percentage?
You know, I don't have that number, and I think it's really gonna depend on the builder themselves, and you will find some, I mean, another good question that people might ask are there gonna be BMRs in this community, right? Some builders have paid more to the city to not have BMRs. And some builders are saying, I don't wanna pay that extra fee, I'm gonna put in BMRs in my community. So it's very important as a realtor, that those are the kind of questions you ask. Are you guys gonna have BMRs in here? Yes, we are. Okay, how many? Well, probably about 10% are gonna be BMRs. Some folks may not want to be in a community where there's BMRs. They don't want to, right?
Does that drive the value down?
No.
It's a perception thing.
It's a perception, right?
Well,
I have
in
clients who
effect,
think
it's
it'll
actually
drive the
driving-
value down.
Okay, perception.
Well, in effect, it's gonna drive the price of market rates up,
Yeah.
because they have to pay for them. But- So that's what's gonna happen in San Jose. You're gonna start to see, now that San Jose passed an ordinance that there has to be more below market rate, there's a lot of developers pulling out. And right as, and it's really sad being in the industry, right as San Jose is primed to be a destination again, and maybe get to be as good as San Francisco with all the high rises and the height limitation being risen. Now all of a sudden, all the developers that wanna build more high rises are pulling out because they're gonna have to, the below market rate is going up, the requirement. And so then that just, now when you can't build a 50-story building, you have to build a 30-story building, and you have to include below market rates, now all of a sudden it doesn't pencil, because the cost is just gonna be way too high per unit.
And I think someone said perception. I think that's true as well, right? I mean, if you're buying in a $2 million neighborhood, the perception may be, well, BMRs are for low income, right? And I don't want to be in a neighborhood with low income, right? That might be their perception, right? And so customers will ask that from time to time. It may be important to them. So I think it is important that if your customers are asking these questions, that you're asking those questions. Yeah, exactly. Good questions. Anything else?
So
Yeah.
is this source of information updated continuously by you guys or the builder provides you?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a
All of
little
the
bit of
above.
both. Yeah, it's all of the above. We actually get direct feeds from builders. We also have a team that does indexing, of all the communities as well.
We
And
get it
so-
from realtors, we get it from our clients, we get it from, smaller builders that, wanna be part of it, that we don't know about. So yeah, we accept all.
So you're the
Pretty much-
exclusive source, there's nobody else who's doing the same thing as you are?
There are a few other people doing it, but we audit ourselves against every site we can find, and we're always, the closest one, the most accurate one is New Home Source. That's gonna be the next best. And we're, like I said, we're about 20%, 25% more communities than them, because we take a lot of the smaller, builders, and we don't charge for us to use their data. Like, New Home Source has a consumer-facing site, so they charge builders usually like $300 a month to be on their listing.
Yeah, so if the builder doesn't wanna pay, they don't exist. If you go into your MLS agent-facing tool, you won't find that community because that community didn't pay New Home Source to be out there.
How long have you guys been around?
We launched at Inman Connect in San Francisco in June of this year.
Last year.
Last year, oh my gosh, you're right. That's right, we're into 2016 now.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does feel like this year, so June. So a little over 6 months, 7 months now. Yes?
So what's the difference between the tool in MLS versus your
Our
product?
tool, it becomes your tool. It doesn't sit behind an MLS wall. I don't have a whole lot of visibility into what you guys have available through the MLS through New Home Source, but as I understand,
Home
it's,
Source,
yeah, you guys have the ability to go ahead into the agent tool of MLS listings and see what new home communities are available, okay? Again, it's not a tool that you can share with your customers, but what you can do is you can go in and find that information and then go tell your customer what's available. Again, our tool works on the phone as well. I'm just gonna just real quickly pop up.
Is it an icon? You have an icon on the phone?
Yeah, so you'll get
Well,
really bad reception
you can have
here.
somebody bookmark it
Yeah,
onto the
I just
phone.
bookmark it onto my phone,
Ah,
Okay.
but I can't get anything to open up in here.
Probably, there's ways to do a walkthrough on that. For the user.
So let's see, this is what it looks like on the phone. And then you have the, again, here's the little icon I was talking about. This, I'm gonna click on here right now, and
No,
now
just-
it knows that I'm here at the MLS, and it'll show me, this is how many communities are right close by. If I drove up to San Francisco and hit that icon, I quickly know. So then I'd be able to see all the communities that were in here as well, right? Same facing tool, all the information.
Wouldn't Redfin have the same information?
Nope.
I don't know if they have any partners with builders or with any
Yeah.
other, data source.
You're starting to see, I mean, I think the big boxes, I'll call them, the Zillows, the Redfins of the world, know that that's probably the next frontier for them, because think about it, I mean, I said it before, if I'm looking to buy a home, realtors are saying, okay, let me go show you all the resale homes, right? But as a potential person, I just, find me the right home. I don't care if it's new or what have you, but you wanna be able to be informed to say, I wanna help you find a home. I don't care if it's 100 years old or if it's something that's being built today. And that's the conversation that I think realtors wanna put themselves in a position to answer for the customers, instead of just being segmented into resale homes. Most realtors I talk to, when I ask them if they've worked with new home communities, they say, I have when my customers bring it up, right? And do you want your customers asking you about something, or do you want you bringing that information to them, right? Oh, I was driving by today in Morgan Hill and I saw Load in Place. What do you know about it? What is that? Is that, oh, a new home community? Oh yeah, let me look at that for you, right? And so we're trying to say, there's a lot of people moving into this area. There's a lot of people looking for new homes, especially as it relates to, specific communities such as the Indian population, right? Indian population are large consumers of new homes, okay? If you work with a lot of Indian consumers, they're very interested in new home communities. The other segment that's interested in new home communities is the up-and-comers. It's the 25 to 34-year-olds, right? It's the dual income, no kids. They wanna be next to public transportation. They gotta go to San Francisco. They love the vertical building. They love the 3 stories. I would want nothing to do with them. I've got 2 young kids, and I can barely make it up 2 stories now, okay? They love the new home communities because everything's done for them. Their front yard's taken care of, they've got a cool, nice, clean place, they've got a rec center, and they're right next to Caltrain, right? They love them, right? And so think about the new home, your customers, what new home communities could make sense for them. But then you have the segment like myself, the 45 to 55. I'm looking for probably single family homes, a little bit further out. I want more land, I want a nice yard, those types of things. New home's very appealing for me. I don't like working on anything. My home's 12 years old now, and I'm starting to have a little bit of issues going on. I don't have time for this, right? I don't
Ready
want
to
deal with
trade
this.
in?
What's that?
Ready to trade
Ready to trade in, that's right.
And that's,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun, because we,
There's a lot of real.
the industry does talk about it, it's new homes, and you, agents call them resale homes, but in the industry, it's used homes, is what they're called. It's not a resale, but a used home, just like a used car. It sounds better, yeah.
Yeah, used doesn't sound like it's got a negative.
But as a new home builder,
Used
that's
is
what, that's
bad,
the, that's
right?
what you're trying to do.
Resale is more
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you start to incorporate the new community into your database, ever since they are ready to sell or?
Before usually.
Usually before, yep, yep.
So they usually just have a price tag?
No, a lot
Say
of, no,
coming
a lot of
soon.
the coming soons will not have prices.
Right.
So there will be, and there's a little check mark, there's a filter in here that you can, it's automatically checked to include coming soon. But if you don't want that information to appear, because somebody wants to buy quickly, then you can uncheck that and it'll take all those communities away.
Okay, so, just like the gentleman, mentioned earlier, so if there is a delay in the phase, so will you update that information on the website as well?
We don't go into that information, no. We don't collect that. That would be pretty tedious. The builders don't readily offer that. The only company I know of that does something of the sort, and it's not even doing that, is something called the Rhiness Report. And it's a builder and media source. So they actually have a team of call center basically, and relationships with a lot of the big builders. And they call every week, every single community in the country. And they ask them, because this is the only way you can do it, how many have you sold, how many are available, what's new on the phase? But that costs like $3,000 a month to get access to that information, because the overhead is so high. So basically, they provide that information to the builders that work with them for free, and they turn around and sell it. But the Rhiness is, and there's one other competing to the Rhiness. I like to mention Rhiness because it's a friend of, associate of ours.
I used to run real estate for Bay Area News Group, Mercury
They're fun
News,
for
and we purchased
Rhiness.
the Rhiness report for our real estate team as well there. Because it's one of the best datas to understand a community has 18 units left. And again, as Jonathan points out, it's a manual process calling them up, and sometimes they can't get a hold of someone in time, so the data comes a little bit late, and right, it's 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old. But, yeah.
So you have customer service to help set up stuff like this?
Well, what we do, most of the stuff is for you to integrate into your website. We actually have, I always like to say anything can be done for the right amount of money, but we don't have a team set up to do that. Many, do you work with a large broker or no? And your
Keller
website?
Williams.
Okay, you work for Keller Williams, they have a great tech support. You could ask them, you can show them your website, and they're very familiar with it, and ask them how hard it would be to integrate a link into the header. Okay?
It shouldn't
Well,
take
it
them more
must be
than,
fairly easy
it
if you
shouldn't take
got
more
some
than-
other Keller Williams
I
agents.
Yeah.
think
Shouldn't take
you
more
could
than 10
probably
minutes.
talk to your website tech people and they
Exactly.
can help.
10 minutes.
So basically.
That's my husband and he's been resisting lately.
So basically the question is, can you add a link to my header? And then you can name it whatever you want, right? You can name it new homes for sale, you can say search new homes, you click on the link, it goes
Right,
straight to your
got
website.
it, okay, cool.
But, and I always say 10 minutes, because don't let any developer charge you more than that. Because they can be expensive if you are gonna
Oh,
pay for
yeah.
them or have them on staff. It's not gonna take an hour, it's gonna take 10 minutes max, it's really gonna,
Okay.
it's really actually gonna take them probably 3 minutes, but.
Is that?
They
is
have
that
to
what
log
you're
in,
able to
twist
they
his
log in,
arm,
it's a
huh?
single line, and then they log out, it's
Cool.
very quick and easy.
And so again, you know, what he's done here is, utilize our free resources. He's really going after trying to work with new home buyers. And again, this was back in December, he did a new home seminar, getting his customers into his, seminar. What he wanted to do is get a bunch of his potential customers show up in a room like this and saying, I can help you with new home construction. He also spent time educating them and then saying, if you guys wanna go look at new home communities, I'm your guy, right? And really just broadening what he can bring to these customers, so. It just depends on how deep you wanna get into new homes, or at least if you wanna start participating. I've seen the gambit, really. I've seen agents that